Maultaschen. More Maultaschen. Ravioli, pelmeni, pierogi, wonton, mandu, gyoza, momos, whatever you call them, dumplings are part of almost every traditional cuisine around the world, and Germany is no different. Here we call them Maultaschen, and they're from the southwestern region of Swabia. And as a Berliner, I never really grew up making them, although we did eat them occasionally. I've been set the challenge to recreate these store-bought Maultaschen. Maultaschen literally translates to mouth pockets, although some say that's slang for a slap in the face, which is probably what I'll be giving myself at the end of this video. Some even refer to them as God swindlers, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. Let me know in the comments what you call your dumplings in your country. First step is the dough, which I'm not too worried about. It's a fairly basic pasta dough. These in the ingredients list flour and hard wheat semolina, so that's what I'm gonna go for. I'm gonna take about 150 grams of flour. You can use only flour or probably only semolina, but I'm gonna combine the two. To that 150 grams of flour, 100 grams of hard wheat semolina. Check out our video on semolina pudding, by the way, if you want a sweet German treat. You can play around with the combo here. I mean, as long as you get 250 grams of dry ingredients, you'll be fine. Once you've mixed together your dry ingredients, make a little well for your wet ingredients, which are basic as can be. You just need water, 120 mils, and 2 tablespoons of olive oil as well. And just mix that together. So this combines fairly easily, and I think the semolina is the trick there because it makes the dough quite sticky and smooth. Once it gets to this sort of consistency, I'm afraid you're going to have to use your hands. So I'm quite happy with this. You can see here it's fairly dry but very, very springy. And now you just want to roll it up and cover it and put it in the fridge for at least half an hour. The reason that they were at some point called Herrgottsbscheißerle, or God swindlers, is because monks in the region of Swabia used to hide meat inside these pockets on their fasting days, where they weren't allowed to eat meat. So they thought, oh, we'll just hide it in the Maultasche and no one will find out that we're actually eating meat. I'm gonna keep these vegetarian and gonna improvise a little bit. So every recipe I've seen has a different take on the filling. I'm just gonna go for spinach, which is the traditional one that I've heard of a lot. Carrots, because a lot of the Maultaschen that I've seen have a little bit of orange in them, so I'm guessing that's carrots. Then I want to use mushrooms just to get a little bit more of an umami flavor, a savory hint. And then spring onions, and garlic to give you that flavor kick, as well as some herbs. I'm going to use parsley and thyme, which I really love for this kind of vegetable concoction. So I'm going to fry everything off, starting with the carrots, then the onions, mushrooms, and garlic. So the last vegetable I'm going to pop in is the frozen spinach. So I've got these cubes. It's going to cool everything down a little bit. And just a little bit of nutmeg. So now that that's all simmered down and nice and soft, I've seen that some people use soaked bread or soaked bread rolls from a few days ago. I was a little bit unsure about that, so I'm just going to go with breadcrumbs. Not too sure how much. I've done this once before. It didn't really work ideally. Maybe a fourth. Salt and pepper. maybe just a touch of sugar as well. Now it's time to mash this all together. I mean, I guess you could puree it. This in here looks pretty homogeneous, but I do want my thing to look homemade, so I'm not going to go too fine. This is about as smooth as it's going to get without pureeing it, and I quite like the consistency now. It's stuck together really well through the breadcrumbs, so that's promising. I'm going to let this cool down and tackle the dough. I don't want to break it. I'm a bit scared about this because too thick is all right, I think. Too thin is just going to be a case of it coming through. Ooh, it's already ripped. Okay, it doesn't look great so far. This is something I saw on a photo. Don't know if I can recreate it. Ooh. Thin ground, or rather thin dough that I'm on right now. I'm fairly proud of a couple of these. I'd say about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them have gone all right. And I think, you know, these will taste fine. They're just not the most attractive. What I'm going to do now is show you the 2 ways that Germans like to prepare these. One is really simple. I really hope that this one's not going to split open. So drop these into some simmering vegetable stock. 5 minutes is enough. Now, Maultaschen in broth are very sort of traditional. What I like to do is fry them. So make sure you get them golden brown and crispy, and then you've got the lovely smooth filling inside. Now let's get our classics in the bowl. A poor man's attempt at a poor man's dish maybe, but I think I kind of did okay. The fried ones look sort of like the store-bought fried ones when you get them in a pan. And these ones, they're sort of big and maybe a little bit sad, but I think they'll taste okay. And the filling was pretty okay. And next time I'll be a little bit more careful with my dough. But let me know in the comments how these compare to your country's dumplings. And of course, subscribe for more German flavors. The taste of Southwest Germany.